All right, guys, new podcast today. I hope you enjoy your weekend with this one. And this was a blast. I had an absolute blast sitting down with Iowa State quarterback Rocco Becht as we talk about the upcoming football season, where there's going to be a ton of hype around Iowa State football. Coming up next week, you guys can expect Summer Series podcast with John Haycock and Taylor Mauser. Of course, the new offensive coordinator. I mean, everybody knows who the professor, John Haycock, is. That's coming up next weekend, or next week. That is, this weekend we've got Rocco Becht for you, and he is a phenomenal talker. It's hard sometimes when you don't know a student athlete. It's kind of like you just don't know where it's going to go. I think Rocco and I could have talked for 3 hours. It was really a fun interview, and we will bring that to you today, presented as always by our friends over at Robinson Implement. Is a full line AGCO, Kubota, and a versatile dealership from all of your farm equipment needs. I love their location over in Corning because it's right by my buddies over at the Adams County Speedway. But you can also check them out in Irwin and Pocahontas for all of your farm and construction equipment needs. That's Robinson Implement. They're proud to power the Cyclone Fanatic Summer Series as we are going deep inside the Iowa State football program. I also want to thank my new buddies, Clay and Chase Natuzel. They are Raymond James Financial Advisors. Clay's been doing this for 32 years. Congratulations on that. That's an accomplishment in its own right. Chase is his son. Got into business about 5 years ago, and they are fine gentlemen who are diehard Iowa State fans. I was like to, when we add a new advertiser, you got to see if it fits, right? And I'm like, holy mackerel, these guys are Iowa State to the bone. These guys are Cyclone fanatics. We appreciate their sponsorship of the Summer Series. I would like you to, this is how you spell their last name, Netusil. So that's Clay and Chase Natuzel with Raymond James Financial Advisors. Find them on the web. All right, today's conversation, of course, is with Rocco Becht, the star quarterback for the Iowa State Cyclones. And I knew he had a great personality. His personality even surprised me. I was so impressed with this young man. Check it out here on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network. All right, up here in Ames, and we continue on our summer series, looking ahead to the Iowa State football season. We've got the man, Rocco Becht.
How you doing?
Good, man.
I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you on. This is fun. I'm looking forward to getting to know you a little bit more.
No, I've never done a podcast like this before.
Really?
So, yeah, never. So this is pretty cool.
First one.
Yeah, first one ever.
Well, you grew up. Most of these coaches, like guys our age, we didn't have podcasts. It's like that's like the only media you knew, probably.
Yeah.
Right? Like growing up.
I listened to podcasts here and there, but I mean, nothing like visually or on the radio, but just like on the iPhone.
Okay, so when you have a 30-minute drive, what are you popping on?
Probably just music. If podcast wise, I have been listening to the that Tom Brady's podcast.
Oh, okay.
I like that a lot.
I haven't listened to that one.
It's pretty good. Yeah, they did like episode every week during the season. So.
There's a worse. I mean, you could be listening to worse people as a quarterback.
Exactly. So I thought that was pretty cool to just listen to him and figure out what his in and outs of the game.
Yeah. How have you enjoyed your dad's season? So we're gonna have to play this one, Aiden, before Sunday, just so you know. But Dad's got the Battlehawks in the playoffs. The Iowa State ties to the St. Louis Battlehawks have made me a fan of that league.
No, it's definitely interesting and fun because when I go out there and visit them for the games, and we stay at the same team hotel as them, me and my mom. So the night before, I'm able to see Mike and see Hakeem and see Willie and all of them, and they're the same guys when they come up here. So it's cool to go down and see them, and see them play in the game.
Yeah. What kind of how would you describe the football in that league from like a stylistic standpoint for those who haven't been able to watch it much?
Yeah, I would say it's very intriguing. The football aspect of it, I think it's the same. I think there are a bunch of spread offenses. I'm sure that a bunch of those OCs in that league don't really run the ball a lot, but
yeah,
it's been a passing league, and there's some good quarterbacks in there. The Battlehawks, they have AJ McCarron,
absolutely.
So that's pretty sick. And but from what I've seen, I think it's pretty cool. The rules as well in it are different than the NFL and college, where there's no extra points. You either go for one, go for two, or go for three, which I think is cool because it takes, I don't want to see an extra point. It's boring. So then, they just pick out one, two, or three, and it, makes the fans more intrigued and engaged in the game. So I like it.
Yeah. Well, you're in for an interesting offseason. I'm fascinated by all the weapons on this offense.
Me too.
Well, you put out a tweet the other day about the wide receivers that were on the Pro Football Focus.
Yeah.
And then you got like a 8-foot tall tight end to throw to. You've got you guys are so deep. Like how excited are you?
I'm excited. I mean, you listed, Ben and some of the receivers, but I mean, our running back room is stacked as well. We've got, Carson Hansen, who's going to be a big dynamic back for us in the passing and the running game. Abu just coming back after what he did last season, and the transfer from Eastern Michigan, Jalen Jackson. So that those three guys alone, with our incoming freshman that we had, Dylan Lee, come in the spring, who did a phenomenal job in the spring for us. But having those four guys in the running back room, as well as the guys that you said, I'm excited about it.
So, walk me through you as a quarterback. So you go into last year, you're in a quarterback battle with JJ. You end up winning the job. You have immediate success, right? Well, not immediate.
Ups and downs.
Offense took some lumps. But at the end of the year, the season is seen as this giant success. What has that after that game against Memphis, up until now, what has been your biggest focus as a quarterback?
For me, I think it's the precision and detail of the little things. I feel like that's what killed us a lot in the games that we had lost, because there was a lot of games this season that we had lost that we were in the game in the beginning, and it just kind of fell away from us at the end. And so I feel like it came down to the precision and detail, missing a motion, not motioning them on time, when people get set, knowing getting off a concept quicker. And so for me, that was, my biggest thing I wanted to work on throughout the spring, which I thought I got, better at. But just as a team as a whole, I feel like we all can work on that, is the precision and detail of things. And everybody's agreed and everybody's, done their things properly. And I love the work that everyone put in the spring, especially with the coaches and, some new guys in the coaching staff in the rooms. And so I'm excited about what, we're able to do in the summer and then coming up in the fall. But that was probably the biggest thing for me.
Nate Shieldhouse goes to the NFL.
Yep.
Mauser gets promoted. What was your reaction to that?
Man, I love Mouse. I was excited about it. And then there's the other side of it. I was upset. Coach Shields was my first OC as a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I had gained a relationship with him towards the end of the season, where I thought I was comfortable now, so I was going to get another year with him. He understood me. I understood him, and so I trusted him, and I felt like he had trusted me. And so seeing him leave was, honestly tough, but I love Coach Mouse, and he's such a family and energetic, joyful guy where it's easy to, to like him. And so he's done a great job with me and letting me engage in the offensive staff room and having my opinion, on the table for him. And so that's what I've liked about him, is he's, fully open to whatever I have, to say.
So you're gonna get asked about the personnel and X's and O's and all that stuff all summer. I want to get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, what's up?
When you are give me 13, 14, 15-year-old Rocco sitting around on a Sunday. Who are your football heroes? I know Dad's probably one of them, but who are some of the guys that were the ones you looked up to? Yeah,
so I was a Bucs fan growing up, and I loved Vincent Jackson as a receiver. Quarterback wise, I was a big Russell Wilson guy. That's why I wear number 3 when he was on, his early days of Seattle.
I didn't know that. Okay.
I loved Russell Wilson when I was younger, and so he was a big idol for me on how he threw the ball and how he, layered it down the field and threw his deep balls. And so I kind of looked up to him a lot. But also in the league, I mean, I was more of a guy who just focused on my team, the Bucs, and kind of just liked the players on that team with, Mike Evans. And when he came into the league, I was younger then still, but him, Vincent Jackson, But I really just focused on the Bucks, to be honest. But there are some guys also in the league that I like. Like I said, Russell Wilson.
See, you were a Bucks fan when the Brady era.
Yeah, I was. Nobody can say I was a bandwagon because I was a Bucks fan long back before Tom Brady got there.
Man, you guys got to go back to those unis with the light orange with the old school pirate. And he's got
that's sick.
Knife in his mouth.
That. I think we wore them one game this year against the Lions.
Yeah.
So that was pretty sick.
Those are some of the great uniforms in NFL.
Yeah, some of the throwbacks are awesome, but I didn't like their old jerseys, the older jerseys, where it was like more modern. I didn't really like those.
I'm a Vikings fan. I'm old enough to remember when y'all were in my division. Did you know that the Bucks were in the NFC North?
I had no idea.
The year the Vikings went 15-1, it was 1998. What year were you born?
2003.
Vikings went 15-1. The Bucks were the only team that beat them that year.
I had no idea.
There you go, NFL history.
There we go, exactly.
Little trivia right there.
I thought I knew a lot about the Bucks. Guess not.
So, do you have a relationship with Brock Purdy?
I would say a relationship where he's been kind enough to, if I have any questions about anything, I'm able to text him, and he'll get back to me within a couple of days, and which is awesome because I've met him once on my OV, and then I met him when he came for the Kansas game during his bye week. And he's such a nice guy, such a humble guy, and he's also a guy that I want to look up to and here at Iowa State just because of what he's done. But I have a connection where I'm able to to text him about whatever, and he's able to get back to me.
Yeah, because it feels like a lot of those guys, believe it or not, before you came here, we had this thing at Iowa State where Sundays weren't that Iowa State fans are Iowa State fans, right? Before they are an NFL team in general. Like me, I'll watch the Jets are playing, and I'm going to watch it because of Brees and Will. That's my favorite team right now because those guys, and we just didn't have that for the longest time. Brock and those guys come through, and it felt like, to me, kind of knocked down the door for a lot of you guys
for sure
in the future.
No, definitely. What he's been able to do here and what in the NFL and how he's been able to pave his path. I feel like a lot of guys here want to follow those footsteps, and not even Brock, just Brees and what Alan Lazard has done, and those guys.
So okay, off topic stuff. When you are, I got to know Jalen a little bit last summer, and he was telling me about all the fishing that him and Higgins do. Have they got you out on the pond at all?
No.
What? No?
They try to. I'm not a pond guy. I'm not a fishing guy. I don't have the patience to go sit out there and wait for a fish to catch on my line. I'm more of a golfing guy.
I could see that.
I like to golf. Fishing's just not my type. I can't do fishing.
How long have you golfed?
I've been golfing since I was little, but I haven't golfed this much since, ever. As soon as I got to Iowa State, there's guys on the team that love to golf, so a bunch of the tight ends really, and some of the quarterbacks. So I would just go out with them, and then ever since I got here, I've been golfing, in the summer, probably like 4 times a week. So
where do you play it? Where do you Coldwater?
Coldwater, we golfed. I used to golf a lot at Vinker, and there's a course down in Boone, Honey Creek.
Oh yeah,
that one's
I love
decent.
Honey Creek.
Yeah, I think it's a nice course for where it's at.
Well, and the thing about it is you don't have to be as precise.
No, yeah, no.
Compared to Coldwater will drive you crazy because you think you have a great shot and then it just keeps rolling.
I know, and right now the weeds they're really high right now, and so during
those links courses, man.
Yeah, during the winter when we would go out there this year, like the grass is cut, nothing's there, so I could hit it right or left and I'm fine, and I could get a par. But now there's weeds everywhere, and I can't really feel my ball that easy.
I'm not kidding. I quit golf for like 10 years after a round at Vinker.
Vinker's tough.
Oh.
It's underrated for how tough it is because there's so many different elevations, and I think there's a point where on the front 9 you don't hit your driver for 4 straight holes if you can bomb it.
Yeah.
So
I think I lost like 19 balls in 18 holes there. And it forced me to quit the sport. And I played in high school. Like I'm not
really?
I'm not good,
but I played golf in high school.
Yes. I'm not a good golfer, but I am an adequate golfer who, if you give me like a decent course, I can go out and be at least keep it in the fairway and just Vinker forced me to quit the sport.
Yeah, there's thing that's different about up here too than down south in Florida. There's a lot of water on the courses down south. There's not a really, a good amount of water up here that I've seen that can become a hazard.
Well, and the grass is different too,
Yeah,
like the texture.
I actually love the grass up here in the
Really?
Midwest.
Because I like playing down in Florida because it doesn't get as thick, it feels like.
It doesn't, but just I think up here it's more like there's some courses down in Florida where it's like super firm, and so like if you hit it, you gotta like pure it off the fairway because it's just so hard. Here I like it because it's just it's like turf. It's a little more fluffier.
Y'all got to watch for like gators and stuff down there too.
Yeah,
that's happened. That happens quite a bit when those little ponds, right? Don't they come up and out?
There is. I actually know a gator call, so when I go down there with my boys, I try to do my gator call and try to call one up.
What's a gator call? I honestly didn't even know this is a thing. They like come to a sound?
Yeah, they make a noise. Yeah. That's a gator call.
Really?
Yeah. My dad actually taught me that. So he's not a big,
I didn't know that was a thing.
nature guy either, but he does know that. So
Holy man.
yeah.
Learning something new every day.
Yeah.
I like to eat gator. That's good.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's good. It tastes like chicken.
It does, like a spicier,
Yeah.
like a little darker meat of
yeah.
of a chicken.
I think gator's good.
All right, welcome back. Great conversation here with Rocco Becht. We'll get you back to that here in just a couple of minutes, but we want to thank our great sponsors of the summer series. Of course, my friends over at Fairway Meat and Grocery. And I want to tell you about the Fairway Meat Market up in Ames. It's where the old Wallabies was. And I go to this place every Friday home game during the football season. And I go in there, and it's actually like a mini grocery store. It's like it's not just the meat. There's buns. There's a beer section. There's liquor. There's soda. They got everything. They got sides. It's phenomenal. And I always find something new in there that I haven't tried before. We need to hammer this upcoming football season, folks. When you get to town, the first stop you should make is the Fairway Meat Market in Ames. My name is Chris Williams here with you on the Cyclone Fanatic Summer Series as we continue to hammer out the Iowa State football program. Rocco Becht today, and we couldn't do it without our friends at Central States Roofing, a commercial roofing company in Central Iowa. Hey, heads up, there's a lot of leaky roofs right now, repairs that need scheduled. A lot of people are having, with the storm damage, all that. It's been a really kind of a tragic year, right, in the state of Iowa. If you are one of those people that need help when it comes to a new roof, I want you to remember my friends at Central States Roofing and thank them for sponsoring all this great content here on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network. This is a great family-owned company, and I think that they're great partners for us to have here on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network. Rocco Becht doesn't own a house, but he does have a badass truck, and he's got a hell of an arm too. We will continue our conversation now with him on the Cyclone Fanatic Summer Series as we take a deep dive into the Iowa State football program. So, okay, I want to look forward to, what you have coming up this year. Before we do that, we are going to do something really cool that we're kind of hopping in on with you on July 13th, and we wanted to announce it here, that you're going to do a camp in the community of Perry that obviously had a really tragic event happen there with the shooting.
Yep.
Why are you choosing to do this? And then we'll talk a little bit more about it. But why does this mean so much to you?
Yeah, so ever since I was little, my dad has always held a camp at his high school in Philly and down south in Florida where we live. And his big motto is just giving back to the high schools, giving back to the community. And I was blessed enough to have a year like I did, and I'm able to put on my own camp now. And that's what I'll be doing, like you said, July 13th at Perry. And I wanted to give back to those, in that community for, all the things that they've gone through in the past couple months and, the beginning of the year. And so I'm holding a camp there for, believe it's any child at the Perry High School or middle school or in the community, all funds paid for. So the biggest thing for me is just finding ways and areas to give back to the community, whether it's in Ames, back home where I live, or other parts of Iowa, because I think that's just the biggest thing for me, and that's how I was brought up.
So we're going to do Cyclone Fanatic is going to cover all the T-shirts for all the participants, and then the other cool thing is we're going to make these shirts available so that fans can just purchase them, and then all that money will go back to the community of Perry and
That's awesome.
all the victims from that too. So this,
Yeah,
and
that's
we're going to come and do a show from there. We're
There
going
we
to do
go.
one of these live.
There we go, live. I love that.
Yeah, because we can get. I got that like Starlink internet. Have you ever heard of that?
I have not.
It's sick. It's
Really?
yeah. It's insane. It's like you set up this like satellite dish and you got high speed internet from anywhere. Yeah, we're gonna come down and interview you, and a bunch of your teammates and stuff are gonna be down.
Yeah,
at that
yeah.
too, right?
I'm gonna bring down 10 of the guys to help me come down and do the camp for me, and so I'm excited about it. I planned this about a month ago, and me and my dad and my mom, we're excited to hold this, and for me too, it's just giving back, like I said, and so I'm excited.
I want to run a route that day. See if you can hit me on a post.
No, yeah, give me a post. I'll put it up in the air, deep, long, and let you run over it.
And I guarantee I will trip over my own feet trying to catch the ball. No, I thought last year was one of the most fun years that I've ever had covering the Cyclones, just because I thought you guys would be pretty good because I was talking to the coaches, and even with all the crap that happened in the offseason, it felt like they were really confident in just your guys' group as a whole. And then, man, like you get to game 4 or 5 on, and that was as much fun as I think I've had, because you were just a blast, and you all seem so interconnected.
Yeah.
And then you're bringing back, 19 starters, and you've had these pieces. How excited are you as one of the leaders of this team to just have that, not only the talent, but it feels like you guys are all really good friends too in the process.
Yeah, we definitely are. It's honestly a privilege and an honor to come back as a leader, to play for Campbell, and just lead the pieces that we've had coming back. And so I'm excited, and what we've really focused on is each game at a time. And so obviously our goal is the Big 12 championship, and that's really not where our focus is. We want to win each game every week and focus on those games, and just be precise in the precision and detail, like I was talking about earlier. And so those are the biggest things for us. But I'm truly excited with everything we've got, especially like you said, the pieces that we've added from the transfer portal, and like you said, how we're connected and all that. I feel like that's what Coach Campbell has done for the past couple of years since the end of Brock's era. I feel like everybody has just had a connection with each other, no matter you're a walk-on, a scholarship guy. Everybody's got their own little relationship with each other, and so I feel like that's special, and that a lot of schools don't have that.
Well, how much of an edge does that give you guys with all the returning players? Because it just feels like this era of college football, it's going to be pretty rare to bring this many starters back in the future.
Well, I mean, for us last year, we played, I think we had another category where we played one of the most, we were the teams that played one of the most like freshmen.
Yeah.
Like freshmen on the field. And so we've got a lot of young guys, and 19 out of, those 19 starters, a lot of them are young. And so that's probably the biggest thing for us, and why we're excited is because not a lot of them are older, but a lot of them are younger, and, athletes that, will progress in their game every single year and, be good for us. So I think that's the biggest, reason why we're excited about having all these guys back.
I'll just come out and ask you, I mean, you all have opportunities to leave now and to go out and test the market and whatever. It's just a weird era that we're in. Why were you so adamant about coming back to Iowa State?
This is a place where when I was committed to the place, and so I don't think that Coach Campbell, or when I was talking to him during the recruiting process, whatever he said, what I was hearing from the guys that were here already is everything's true. He doesn't lie about anything. He doesn't put fake stuff out there. Everything he says is truly what he means and what he represents. And so I love this place because it's like a family. I feel like here at Iowa State it's just different than everywhere else, and I do believe that, even though I haven't seen anywhere else, but I mean that's just my opinion. I feel like it's so strong here, the bond and the family of this team. It's remarkable about what it's the reason why I stayed, because I just like it so much here.
Yeah, and I also think too there's a weird thing about Ames. I've been around here about 20 years, and I never wore the colors, but I've talked to enough guys, the Niangs, the Purdys of the world, who they come back.
Yeah.
right? Like Tyrese Halliburton's a great example. He was here for 2 years, and every offseason he finds his way back to Ames. What is it about this place? It's so
I think it's just like
addicting for you.
inviting.
Yeah.
I think this place it's inviting to the people on the outside, and the people here in this community are so generous and so kind. It's I haven't gone to a town like this where everybody's nice. I haven't gone out in public and somebody's been rude to me. So that's good. But this, like I said, it's just inviting to the outside, and that's the reason why I feel like all these guys come back. It's just because it's a second home.
I wanted to ask you about a couple of your teammates. The first of all is Eli Green, who I don't know a lot about him. Yeah. I know everybody's really high on him. I know he got rated by Pro Football Focus at the top, which put out your tweet the other day. What have you seen from him? Like what makes him such a intriguing prospect going into this year?
Yeah, Eli's a savvy guy. With the OTAs and the what we've been able to do out on the field so far with him throwing the ball to him, he's just a guy where he's kind of like a Jalen Noel in the slot, where he can make a seam route or a post or a glance route, and he could take it to the house. He's just a guy like that, where he can make a guy miss and he's gone. So having a guy like him next to Jalen is it's gonna be awesome for me during the season, because I'm going to have those two guys to throw the ball to. But he's such a nice guy, a humble guy. He actually golfs a lot too. So
oh, okay.
I've already been golfing with him a couple times, and he's pretty decent. He's pretty good. So I was excited about that when I heard that he played golf.
Who else golfs with you?
Man, Ben Bramer. There's like 5 tight ends that I golf.
He's got to have long clubs.
Yeah, he actually just shot. Shout out to Ben Bramer. He just shot a +5 at Coldwater.
Oh, that's tough.
Last week, and
that's impressive.
Yeah, that was really impressive. So shout out to Ben.
Like a true +5?
True +5.
Wow.
Yeah, and
you guys aren't using the old foot wedge?
No,
that's good.
None of that.
No mulligans.
No, PGA rules. PGA rules. Right. But there's a bunch of tight ends, a bunch of Jalen and Jaden. They started playing golf. Jalen's pretty good actually. He started playing last summer. Jaden's getting into it. He's not there yet.
You guys are all like little mini NFL players, because that's all they do. But Sage Rosenfels is a buddy of mine, and he's told me about the NFL, like how they get done with their training camp by like 10 o'clock, and then they just all go out and golf all day.
We love it. I think it's so much fun to go out there with the guys and just hang and play golf. I think it's the funnest thing ever.
So I'm really intrigued by Green, because, again, I just feel like he's a guy I don't know much about. But Benny was the one at the end of last year where I'm like, that dude's a freak. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know when he's going to burst out of his shell, but I'm calling my shot. He's like the next stud Iowa State wide receiver. Yeah. Does he have a shot to have a breakout year?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I definitely think so. What he was able to put on tape at the end, especially in the Memphis game when he made that that catch over the shoulder for about 40 yards, I think. I think that was when I believe that was like his second play in the game. So I believe that's when the coaches, really thought that they're able to put him in and he's able to go to work and put something out there that's special. And so he's put in so much work over the offseason and throughout this spring, because every day I see him on the jugs with Jaden Higgins, and so that's a guy where he wants to follow the best and he wants to be the best, and I'm excited for him coming up in this this season, because he's going to get a lot of play time for us and he's going to be a difference maker for us.
You mentioned one of my favorite guys who I think that has a huge ceiling. You mentioned him earlier, was Carson Hansen. Yeah. I mean, Sama had the record-setting game against Kansas State. Still one of my favorite games in Iowa State history. No, I was out calling men's basketball because I was filling in for John and Eric because they were with you guys, and we watched that game from Florida.
No
and
way.
It was like 80 degrees, and like we had our hotel rooms open watching that game when it was just snowing everywhere. It was just a. Jeez. But I think Hansen is a guy who most fans who aren't diehards. A lot of our listeners are the diehards, but I think a lot of the casual fans don't know how good he could potentially be.
No, they don't. What Carson brings to the table is he's so big and lengthy where he'll run through a hole and he'll knock somebody over, and so. For him, he does everything right. He's 100% on whatever he does. He's one of the leaders in the running back room because everyone right now is they're around the same age, and so they always have their they have their certain aspects and categories where they lead, and he's one of those guys in that running back room, and so he's been able to set an example of how to do the little things right, and he's going to be huge for us. I love him, especially in the passing game. I think he's my dog in the passing game. He keeps me protected.
I love it. I think that he could be a huge weapon.
I do too.
Receiving the ball too.
I do too.
What about this NCAA football game? You gonna buy it?
I am. I will. I think it's gonna be cool to play with myself and play with Iowa State.
Yeah.
That's gonna be really cool. See how good my skills are as an OC and
see that's where I'm all about. I like to do the dynasty mode.
That's
my thing.
I've played Madden in the past, but like I never gotten into like truly like just I want to go home and play video games.
Yeah.
I was never that guy.
Yeah.
I always
that's good. That's probably why you've been successful.
Maybe, I don't know, but I've always just wanted to go outside and play. But
that's why you're successful, because you haven't had hours of screen time during your childhood.
Possibly.
This is good.
Well, that's credit to my mom.
Don't start now.
No, I won't. only maybe like twice a week I might play EA Sports because I feel like it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, because it is interesting because now it'll like have your name.
Yeah, it's gonna be super cool. It's especially like I'm gonna get to see like what they made my overalls and all that stuff. So I might be a little mad at some of it, but
I've already given Mauser crap because I was like, "Here's the problem you've got. Now you're gonna have this generation of fans that are gonna be averaging 50 points a game with the Cyclones, and if you don't live up to that, it's on you. They're gonna be telling you what plays they're calling."
Oh my God, that's gonna be hilarious! Actually, I haven't thought about that.
I've been pressing him. Make sure he stays up to it. But I've known Mouse a long time, and I'm a passing guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm a throw the damn football. If you can't run it, like get it out there. I am a proponent of you throwing the ball 50 times a game and then letting the running backs eat off of that.
There we go.
So
I love that.
Just throwing it out there.
He wants to throw the ball down the field this year. So
well you got the guys.
We do. We got Benny. We got Jaden. We got Isaiah Alston from Army.
How's he look?
He looks good. He wasn't fully healthy during the spring just because he was coming off his injury from Army, but I believe he's back to fully 100%, and he looks good. He's super lengthy. He can jump. So any ball in his vicinity, I feel like he's just going to be able to go up and get it.
Oh, I can't wait. I think it's going to be an awesome year. Appreciate you. Well, I'll see you again in about a month. We're going to be at your camp and hopefully raise a ton of money for the community of Perry through. And again, if you're a fan out there, you can support it by buying these T-shirts. We'll have all that information for you.
Yeah, please do.
But that'll be cool.
That'll be awesome. Yeah, I can't wait for that, especially the camp. And then, having you guys there as well. So it's going to be fun.
And I'll be rooting on the Battlehawks coming up on
– there we go. Sunday.
Coming up on Sunday.
6 p.m. Central.
I bet you that there'll be a lot of Iowa State fans that'll go to that.
Man, I hope. I
bet there will be.
You got two guys that were, stars in the Big 12 and not Iowa State. So hopefully there's, a bunch of Iowa State guys there.
Cool. Thank you for your time, man.
Yes, sir.
This was a lot of fun. Rocco Becht here. We'll be at his camp in Perry on the morning of July 13th.